Toney being a little lethargic, and we've seen this before, allowing certain things to happen in the ring. And good defense by Thomas. But look what a clever fighter James Toney is. Can't hit it to the head, so immediately he switches to the body. But give Glenn Thomas credit for some good defensive work on those ropes.
Yeah, Thomas doing a nice job, but he's likely just in there against a guy who's more experienced, more effective.
Been an interesting round, though, in which Glenn Thomas has made some things work for him.
End of round number 3. And James Toney probably did enough once again.
Unique. Twin blade from Bic. What's in it for me?
Getting a sneak right hand on Glenn Thomas in a round that otherwise, though, I thought Glenn Thomas had some very, very good moments.
And Toney starts out rather quickly here.
You know, the defense of Glenn Thomas has been quite good. And usually with Toney's hand speed, we saw it against Ricky Thomas, it's hard to avoid those shots.
Let's take a look at the jabs through the first 3 rounds. Thomas throwing more jabs, but not landing any more than James Toney.
No, Toney, it shows you that Toney has not used that punch that effectively. I mean, in terms of numbers anyway. You know, his percentage is good. Since Toney moved up in weight, interestingly, his hand speed has actually been better. And the reason for that is he hasn't had to weaken himself to get down to 160. Now, do you see Toney as there you see the I gave Thomas the last round, so I have Toney at 29-28. Do you see Toney as a light heavyweight?
I can see it, definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. He might not punch with super power in the light heavyweight division, but probably has what it takes to be a very good light heavyweight.
And there aren't a lot of huge power punchers in the light heavyweight division.
That's a very good point. He thinks he could be a cruiserweight eventually.
That one I would question more, but it's possible.
Well, in fact, the IBF cruiserweight champion Al Cole is one of many luminaries in the audience. Speaking of luminaries, I want to mention to the folks in Colorado Springs, I'm going to be down there on June 19th for the Pikes Peak Rodeo with many luminaries. I'm going to point that out.
You're riding up?
Yeah, we're riding up, that's right. Up there, down there, wherever. It's going to be a fun event for charity. How many more times do you think it's mandatory for me to mention that prior to the event?
Yeah, right.
That'll probably do it. James Toney is now starting to go to the body, Barry, and it's making all the difference in the world.
Thomas tries to fight off the ropes. Toney just won't let him off of there. And now Thomas says, come on.
And if you say come on to James Toney, I guarantee he'll do the opposite, which is tell you come into me and then I'll counterpunch you. And it goes toward what you said. There's a very good point. Seldom does James Toney get too emotional in the ring. You know, he's a fiery guy outside. He's almost always composed in the ring. Some have criticized him for being too lethargic in some of his efforts.
Well, that's true, and I've been one of them, but...
Oh, you were the guy. I remember.
Yeah. Just ask James Toney.
Yeah, he'll tell you. Maybe that's why he's a little silly sometimes. It's not me, it's you.
Guilt by association. Thomas tries to open up on Toney. I don't believe Tony's hurt. And none of those are landing at all. So it's a lot of bombast, but not a lot of bombs. We'll be back.
George Foreman, an American institution. Tommy Morrison, the up-and-coming slugger from the nation's heartland. 2 symbols of the American spirit, headed for a collision. This is going to be a star-spangled battle. Catch the fireworks as the 2 heaviest hitters in boxing clash head-on for the WBO Heavyweight Championship. Monday, June 7th, live on pay-per-view. Call now to order.
Well, a reminder that we're going to take a look back on a fight that took place earlier between Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. That'll be on June 24th here on ESPN, a replay of that great fight. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Holyfield versus Bowe before Bowe fights next.
And you know what's the best about that fight? Norman Chad has to sit through my call again. They'll torture him to death. Torture him. Just destroy him. Okay. I can't believe this.
Numbers in the 4th round. Thomas throwing more and landing the same. And that was the story with the jabs that you saw a little bit earlier. But Thomas is trying to fight him, to his credit.
He really is. And, you know, defensively, Thomas is doing a very nice job against James Toney. That's maybe the one thing that's surprising Toney. And, you know, when you get yourself out of the game plan that you normally have, which I thought James Toney did a little bit, sometimes it's hard to get back. There's the jab of James Toney, and you know, that's a weapon that's been underused by him. And we have to give Glenn Thomas some credit for that. It's been hard to land it for Toney.
Toney has that look of a man who can get his opponent out of there anytime he chooses.
And once in a while, that will get you off your game. And you'll do things you don't really want to do. I don't think he thought Glenn Thomas would be this slick in the ring.
Thomas's hand started to drop a little bit.
Come on, head, come on. Right there, Johnny. Right up the middle, right up the middle.
The left hand by Thomas.
Not a lot of leverage on the left hooks from James Toney there. He's landing, but he's not throwing it with the leverage he normally has. There's the jab of Toney, which when he throws it, it's a superb punch.
Great body shot with the right hand by Toney, too. I have an idea that Thomas may be getting just a little bit tired.
And part of it is because Toney has switched his attack to the body in the last round or two.
It's the 5th round of a scheduled 10-rounder.
Watch your head, watch your head.
End of round number 5. That was an easier round for James Toney.
I ain't quitting.
That's right, baby. That's right. Behind the neck, behind the neck. Behind the neck. There you go.
Interesting comment, I think.
Yeah, he's a little tired, but I think he said that to pump himself up, Glenn Thomas.
Doing good, G. Let's don't get lazy, all right? Okay.
Well, a reminder, baseball coming your way from Omaha, Nebraska. One of the really good events in sports, the College World Elimination Tournament at this point. So the loser goes home and the winner stays in the tournament. Long Beach State 0-1, Kansas 0-1. They'll have at each other coming up next right here on ESPN. The College World Series from Omaha, Nebraska.
Let's go. Keep that jab. Start countering that jab now.
In George Thomas's corner, or rather Glenn Thomas's corner, telling him just keep with the game plan, stay with it, put the pressure on him. Thomas trying to psych himself up. Still a long way to go here.
You could sense, though, that Glenn Thomas getting a little tired, I think, a little fatigued. And right now, it would behoove James Toney to go to the body a little bit more, which he was doing early.
Right behind your right elbow.
Toney using the jab very effectively now.
Numbers in the 5th round. Thomas throwing fewer, landing fewer, and that's a sign of fatigue.
Toney landing upwards of 50%. Shows you that he is being pretty serious now about going after Glenn Thomas.
Well, we said earlier, we made the analogy of James Toney to John McEnroe. McEnroe just hated practice, and I'm not trying to say that James Toney doesn't like sparring in the gym, but he just would rather be in there in a live fight. McEnroe said he always played doubles just because he didn't like to practice. Now it's like his practice.
Wants to stay very busy, this James Toney. I have him winning the fight by 1 point. Could be more.
No cheap shots. Let's go.
Toby Gibson says no cheap shots to Toney. Toney kind of turned with the shoulder. Who's the still have it as a close fight, though, interestingly enough.
Yeah, you know, because a couple of those rounds I thought Thomas stole by a very small margin. But I would not be surprised if it was a bigger margin on the judges' scorecards, and that would not be inappropriate. When you're better, when you feel like you've got better skills and you're kind of in control, there is a tendency in any athletic endeavor to relax a little bit too much, and that's what Toney does sometimes.
Good right hand by Toney, I think, hurt Thomas for the first time. Thomas trying to fight back, missed with 3 shots, and takes another right.
Good counter rights by Toney. He has thrown that punch well, and now they're going to talk a little bit. That was inevitable.
A good left hand from Thomas. I don't believe Toney is hurt. He'll give you that look sometimes.
Another good round for Toney, but Glenn Thomas has landed more punches in this bout than we've seen in recent fights against Toney. I said that, he kind of looked down here.
Yeah, he did.
You think you heard that? Nice right by Thomas. If he's going to hear those comments, maybe I'll give him some advice. I think his corner does a good enough job of it.
Terry Gibson again telling Toney no cheap shots because he spun Thomas into his left hand. Coming to the end of the 6th round. This was really an entertaining round and not an easy round to score either. I can't wait.
You know, when it comes till it's too late.
James Toney with some very effective counter right hands. And that one getting to the head of Glenn Thomas. He's beat Ricky Thomas and Danny Thomas. Now he's going to maybe beat Glenn Thomas.
Going for a Thomas hat trick.
Marlowe could be next.
Yeah.
Toney expanding his lead a little bit. And also the numbers of punches thrown has really gotten a lot closer. Was Thomas had the big edge earlier.
But Thomas, to his credit, is really fighting James Toney.
Yes. He's not looking to just survive. But boy, he is getting ripped to both the body and the head now by Thomas.
He is. On your card now, as you mentioned, Toney with a 2-round edge.
And as I said, it could be more on other judges' scorecards, and that would not be inappropriate. And the momentum of the bout certainly has gone toward James Toney now.
Well, it's coming down now, I think, to a conditioning fight. And Toney, I've never known him to show up not ready to fight.
Yeah, and the only thing that ever made him fatigued was getting to the 160 level, which was really pretty much very low for him. And when you think about it, here he's fighting at 172. He looks comfortable at that weight. It's 12 pounds less to get to 160. That's a lot of weight. So I did that math immediately. From 172 to 160 would be 12.
Almost every time. Good right hand from Toney.
You know, it's interesting. James Toney is a good inside fighter. He's not known for that, but he's become much better at that skill. Showed it against Barkley. He's showing it here.
He's got the whole package. I don't think he's a good defensive fighter. He can fight you at long range. He can jab you. He can get inside and brawl with you.
If there's one criticism of James Toney, it is that he's not a big power puncher. It takes a lot of punches for him to get you out or a win by decision, but then what's the difference? Winning is the point.
Hold him. Get off of him.
Thomas continues to fight him. But I think Thomas really is tired.
Toney has done a very good job of getting him against the ropes, leaning on him, working the body, and tiring Glenn Thomas.